was like watching the film of the 42-37 game.
Oh my gosh, it was, it was alarming how physical it was. That was a physical basketball game, and I mean, I think we've established that both teams are really good defensively, but when I watched on tape, it was really jaw-dropping of how both teams played in that game defensively, and I mean, it was a hand-to-hand combat. It was guys, a shot would go up and two guys would be on the ground, one guy would be flying out of bounds, and somebody would come out with the rebound, and both teams were like that. So expect nothing less.
I know in football, if you're playing like a team with an amazing defense, points like might be at a premium or something. Like in basketball, maybe it's a dumb question, but when it might be a lower scoring defensive type game, do you approach it any differently or have to do anything different, just knowing the kind of style it's going to be?
BJ, there are no dumb questions, just the ones fill in the blank asks. Whoever you want to put in there, right? Since ball game's not here today.
He's an air ball game.
Yeah,
now,
it's air ball game. He's not here today. What was the question?
Just if it's going to be a defensive, lower scoring game, do you approach it any differently, knowing?
I mean, points are at a premium every game, and especially in hindsight, when you look back at all these close games that we've played, 1 point here or there, your record could be completely flipped. And I've never seen a year that has so many of those. And not just us, really, when you look throughout the league, and one of the teams we just played was in that kind of situation. And you could look up and down the league, and it's like that. So, yeah, they every possession is so important. And, the ones down the stretch are the ones you all remember. But there's a lot of big ones throughout the game.
Your team has had better defensive numbers, and just watching the games better defensively than you've been. But you look at other numbers from other teams in this conference, there's a lot of low defensive numbers. Yeah. Is this the best this conference has been defensively?
Probably. I mean, you got a lot of teams that are committed to it, a lot of teams that are great at it, and it just seems like that. It does seem like that's the case, Bob. But I can't. I mean, when I think back, I can't remember all those games. But there was a lot of good defensive teams back in the day too. But when you say that, you don't look statistically and see so many as what we're seeing now. And San Diego State always kind of stood out that way more than everybody else. And now there's about 4 or 5 of us that have those scoring numbers, certainly.
You never want to lose a player to injury at any point, or have them sit out.
Never.
But is there a glass half full to Acott's time that he spent out?
There always is a silver lining to every problem that you have, and we're pretty good at trying to find those. And, hopefully that is the case. And that's one of those things that you'll never know until hindsight. I mean, would you, when we were cooking along and win those 14 games in a row, and then you said you got to go play 4 without him, would I want to? Heck no. I mean, are we a better team with him? Yeah, a lot better, because that's one of the better players in the Mountain West, and to take him off the lineup, if you looked all throughout the league and said, okay, I'm going to take one of your top players out of your lineup for 4 games, I think it would be, I think we navigated it pretty darn well. And we're still getting, you don't come back at 100% because timing, conditioning, there's nothing like playing in a game that gets your timing that way, and especially this time of year, because we're not running up and down for an hour and a half like we would in a game. And so you lose a lot, and very rarely do you see a guy come back and just pick up where he left off. It takes time, and you just never know how much time, but it takes time to get back to their original form. But like I said, if you took one of the top 2 or 3 players off any of these teams, I don't know if they could have navigated it like we did.
Do you think maybe the development of some of the guys behind him could be a glass half full portion of that?
That, you never know what the hidden residual things that happen to players, or you just never know. And you think but you think you can figure it out, but sometimes it's the opposite. You just don't know.
It's been about a month since you faced the Aztecs. How do you think your team has grown offensively in the last month?
Well, I think Jay Test is the one that tweeted what our numbers have been the last 4 games, and then some of these second halves have been phenomenally efficient, and so I think there's just like anything else, offense is a big part of his confidence, and so you got to have the moxie and the belief so I think, when you're scoring more points and being a little more efficient, and then also figuring out who we are, that's always evolving, and I think we're playing to our strengths better.
You look at the bracketology stuff, San Diego State's like literally last team in, first team out right there. I mean, they've won 5 in a row. I guess, how are they looking to you lately? And also, do they seem like a desperate team right now that's obviously playing for a lot?
I don't know what's inside their heads or their locker room. I know they do look like they went into Fresno and won by 16 or 17, and nobody would have predicted that. They were beyond everybody's thoughts of what's going to happen. I mean, that's a pretty good basketball team to go beat them by 16 or 17. So that tells you how good they're playing right there. That's all you need to know. They did the same thing to Utah State a week before or whatever, and they're playing great basketball, no doubt about it. And it looks like they're peaking at the right time, and their defense was great when we played them. I know that, and it hasn't taken a step backwards. That's for sure. So it looks like they're playing better.
You've won some high-scoring games against UNLV, a couple other teams, and then you've won a game where you scored 42 points and won. Do you take pride in being able to kind of come out with victories in different ways?
Yeah, I think that's important. You got to be able to do that. There's always going to be so many different circumstances in a game, and I think it takes a mature team to figure out the way, and to be comfortable with, hey, it's not going to go as planned. We got to find another way, and that's more common than the other way. I mean, I don't remember, maybe in our 30 games a year, you get 2 that go, oh, that one is planned, and even then, you're really not planning for best case scenarios because those very rarely happen. So, that's what good teams can do, is they can figure out a way. And we've been lucky and fortunate, and I got mature guys that kind of just do that.
So what does it look like when that plan changes mid-game, like against San Diego State? I mean, do you go in with the plan, and then after a couple minutes, you're like, okay,
well, we always kind of have a plan A, plan B, and plan C, and then it's all right, let's figure it out. There's sometimes you just got to do that, and I think the more experience you have, and I've got an experienced staff and experienced players, the more experience that you have on a team and in a locker room and on a bench, I think it just makes it easier to be able to do that. And because you're a lot of it's trial and error over the years. You look at something, never do that one again, or boy, that worked, let's go back to that, and so that, I think that helps you in some of those situations.
What would your sales pitch be to fans on the fence about coming tomorrow?
Oh, first of all, you shouldn't be on the fence. These guys are terrific, and you look at the history of the game. I can't remember years ago, like when Fisher was still there, we were talking about how many games actually came down to the ball rolling around the rim on the last possession. Thomas Pro play, and Poli hit the game winner over there, and I mean Nick Duncan's game winner. I mean it's unbelievable the great games that we've had with these guys over my 12 years here, and it's always entertaining, and understand too. I hope everybody understands how much it means to our players and how much it helps us and gets us over the hump and gives us energy. I mean, that's what we have to play when we play there. So let's go, Bronco Nation. Come out and see these guys and support us. You only have, 80 more minutes left in this building because the fans get to play all 40. So
as someone that, coaches and stands and is a part of this, you've been in a lot of other arenas, you've been in a lot of packed arenas. Even here, you think whether it's the Oregon game one year, the one where San Diego State was 5th, the Poli game you mentioned, You've had some special nights here with the crowd and stuff. What difference does, say, 11,000 versus 7,000 make, or just in terms of packing this place?
First of all, I'll just give credit to the ones that have came, because in some of these close games, even if there wasn't 11,000, they've been loud, they've been energetic, they've been intimidating in some ways, and they raise our energy, and that's probably the most important thing. So, that's what we tell our guys too. Our job's the same, and if it's in front of 1 or 10,000, so it's nothing we can control. But when this place is full and rocking, holy cow, is it special? I mean, it gives you goosebumps, and that's what we need. That's what these guys deserve, and that's what we need. And so, I plead to Bronco Nation, come on out, because our guys will battle, and you're going to see two really good basketball teams, two high-level basketball teams, and that's what you want.
So when you come around that tunnel and you walk out here and you see the student section, it's probably the first thing you see, or the third deck. I mean, I know you say it's 1 or 10,000, but when you walk out and it's a little more packed than usual, or you see the students that showed up and stuff, I mean, does it give you a little extra juice or a little feeling?
Absolutely, and it definitely does for our guys too. It means a lot, and it also, they'll put a lot into this thing, and so it's like it makes them feel like, hey, look at what we're accomplishing. People are coming out to see us. I mean, we don't take it for granted. I know that.
Going up against a guard like Bradley, what's the biggest challenge in slowing him down?
Well, he's a scoring machine, and he can really get it going, and he can carry a team by himself, and guys like that are a huge challenge, because sometimes when the way you guard them doesn't matter too much when they get it rolling. So you just got to possession by possession and try to make it hard on him.
What did you guys do last time? He was single digits. What do you think your biggest reason for holding him last time?
Well, that's top secret, Bob.